I stood on the sidewalk across from my office building, staring up at the 48th floor. My wife had texted saying she was working late, but what I saw was her wrapped in the arms of two other men. The birthday cake in my hands was already cold, the buttercream frosting losing its last bit of warmth in the crisp night air. I planned this as a surprise for Chloe, but it looked like the surprise was on me. I thought I was seeing things. No, it was impossible. Chloe, my sweet, devoted Chloe, would never do something like this. I closed my eyes, took a deep breath, and opened them again. The fluorescent office lights, shining through the floor-to-ceiling windows, illuminated the scene with perfect, brutal clarity. My wife, the woman I had loved for 7 years, was being held by two men. One of them had his hand resting possessively on the small of her back. My own hand started to tremble. I forced myself to stay calm. Maybe it was just a friendly hug? A celebration for a closed deal? Maybe. Just as I was scrambling for an excuse, one of the men leaned in and pressed his lips to hers. Thud! The cake box slipped from my grasp and hit the pavement. 1 second. 2. 3. I started to laugh. A bitter, hollow sound. A cliché so old it was almost funny, and here I was living it. I loosened my tie and shrugged off my suit jacket, draping it over my arm. I walked across the street and into the lobby, heading straight for the elevators. 48. I watched the numbers climb, each floor marked by a soft chime. The only other sound was the frantic pounding of my own heart. Ding! The elevator doors opened. I walked directly toward the office, the one bathed in a soft, intimate glow. Through the glass wall, I could see the kiss was still going. My wife's eyes were closed, a blissful smile on her face I'd never seen before. The other man held her from behind, his hands roaming freely over her waist. I shoved the door open. It slammed against the wall with a resounding crash. Chloe's eyes flew open. When she saw me, the color drained from her face. Liam, she stammered, frantically pushing the two men away. What? What are you doing here? I stared at her, my voice ice. It's your birthday. I wanted to surprise you. My birthday. A surprise. She mumbled the words. Then her hand flew to her mouth and tears welled in her eyes. I turned my attention to the two men. One was Ethan Vance, the firm's senior vice president. The other was Mark Peterson, a director in the marketing department. Ethan was surprisingly composed. He straightened his tie. Taylor, isn't it a little late to be dropping in unannounced? Yeah, you're right. It is, I said, smiling coldly as I looked back at Chloe. Honey, am I interrupting? Should I just go home? No. Liam, please, let me explain. Chloe rushed toward me, grabbing my hand. It was just. Just what? They both wanted to kiss you at the same time. I gripped her wrist, pushed her aside, and walked straight toward Ethan. Ethan held up his hands with a smirk. Hey, you saw it yourself, Taylor. Chloe was all for it. If you're going to blame someone. He never finished the sentence. My fist connected with his jaw. The impact sent him staggering back into a desk. I grabbed the collar of his shirt, and my fist fell like rain. Every punch was payback for the years of sacrifice, the endless nights I'd spent working to build a life for us. We had been married for 7 years. 7 years I'd busted my ass to give her everything she wanted. I'd climbed from a junior analyst to an executive VP, and she knew better than anyone the blood, sweat, and tears it had cost me. And this is how she repaid me. Liam, stop it. Chloe screamed from the sidelines, too scared to intervene. Mark tried to slip away, but I caught him with a kick that sent him sprawling. Don't go just yet, I sneered, advancing on him. The show's not over. I'm sorry, mister. Taylor, I'm so sorry. Mark scrambled backward on the floor. It was a moment of weakness. I shouldn't have touched your wife. I kicked him hard in the ribs. Shouldn't have touched her? Then where the hell were your hands? Chloe finally ran over and threw herself at my legs. Liam, please stop. It's my fault. It's all my fault. Hit me instead. Just please stop. I looked down at her. This woman had once been my entire world. I would have given up anything for her. Now all I felt was disgust. Get off me. I shook her off, grabbed Mark by the hair, and slammed his head against the wall. Thump. Blood trickled down his forehead. Liam, are you insane? Ethan scrambled to his feet, clutching his face. You're going to kill someone. Kill someone? I laughed. Perfect. I can get rid of both of you scumbags at once. I grabbed a heavy crystal paperweight from a desk and raised it to throw at Ethan. Stop. Building security rushed in, tackling me and pinning my arms. I struggled against them, roaring, Let me go. I'm going to kill these animals. Ethan wiped a smear of blood from his lip. Chloe, call the police. No, she cried, shaking her head frantically. He's just upset. By now, more colleagues had gathered, drawn by the commotion. They gasped at the scene, the trashed office, the two men bleeding. Someone call 911. Get an ambulance. They pressed me to the floor, and I looked around at every face in the crowd. Their eyes were filled with a mixture of shock, contempt, and morbid curiosity. Suddenly, a strange calm washed over me. "Let me go," I said, my voice quiet but firm. "I'm done." The guards hesitated, then slowly released me. I got on my feet, brushed off my clothes, and looked directly at Chloe. "Happy birthday, honey. Hope you enjoy your gifts." With that, I turned and walked away. Behind me, I could hear her desperate cries. "Liam, let me explain. Please, just listen to me." I didn't look back. It wasn't until I was out of the building and back on the cold street that I noticed my hands were shaking. They were smeared with blood. I couldn't tell if it was Ethan's or Mark's. I pulled out my phone and sent a text to our corporate counsel. "Draft the divorce papers." A reply came back almost instantly. "Mr. Taylor, it's after midnight." Now I typed, "Do it now." The wind cut through me, chilling me to the bone. I glanced back up at the 48th floor. The lights were still on, figures moving behind the glass. 7 years of marriage. Over just like that. At 3 in the morning, I was in my study with a bottle of whiskey and a pack of cigarettes. The air was thick with smoke. The doorbell rang. I didn't move. It rang for 10 solid minutes before finally stopping. A moment later, I heard a key turning in the lock. "Liam." Chloe stood in the doorway, her voice choked with tears. I ignored her and poured myself another glass. She tiptoed into the room. "Liam, please, just let me explain. It was all a misunderstanding." "A misunderstanding?" I scoffed. "Did you misunderstand your lips being pressed against Ethan's? But did you misunderstand Mark's hands all over your body?" "No." She dropped to her knees in front of me, clutching my legs. "They kept pouring me drinks. I had too much. I swear, I don't even remember what happened." I shove her away. "How long are you going to keep lying to me?" "I'm not lying." Her makeup was a mess of tear-streaked mascara. "Liam, I'm so sorry. I know I messed up. Hit me, scream at me, do whatever you want. Just please, don't ignore me." I drank my whiskey in silence. She lunged forward to hug me. "Liam, remember? The day we first met, you promised you'd spend your life taking care of me. You said you'd never leave me, no matter what." I shot to my feet, and the glass slipped from my hand, shattering on the hardwood floor. "I did say that," I hissed, staring her down. "But what about you? What about your promises?" I pulled out my phone and showed her the picture I'd taken from the street. The image of her kissing Ethan was perfectly clear. "How long has this been going on?" She trembled. Not long. Just a month." "And Mark? What's his story?" I asked through clenched teeth. She looked down, unable to meet my eyes. A cold laugh escaped my lips. "So longer than a month, then." "Liam, I don't know how it happened," she sobbed. "It started as just work stuff, client dinners. Ethan was so nice to me. And then Mark started." "Enough." I clenched my fist so hard the empty glass I'd picked up shattered in my hand. Blood welled up, dripping onto the floor. "Liam, your hand!" she cried, rushing to help. I flung her arm away. "Don't touch me." She stared at me, stunned, tears flowing freely. "Do you know why I came to your office tonight?" I reached into my jacket pocket and pulled out a small velvet box. "This was your birthday present." She took the box, her hands shaking, and opened it. Inside was a diamond necklace. "It's the one you've been wanting," I said, my voice flat. "I worked overtime for 6 months to afford it. I wanted to give you a surprise. I just didn't realize I'd be the one getting one." "Liam." She covered her mouth, her shoulders shaking with sobs. "Here," I said, snatching the necklace from her. "Now you can give it to Ethan. Or Mark." I walked to the window and hurled it into the darkness. "No." She lunged for it, but it was too late. The necklace caught the light for a second before disappearing into the night. She collapsed on the floor, breaking down completely. I went to our bedroom, pulled her clothes from the closet, and threw them in a pile at her feet. "Take your things and get out." "Liam, please, don't make me leave." She clung to my legs again. "I know I was wrong. I really do. Just give me one more chance. I swear it will never happen again." I ignored her, my heart aching as I gathered her belongings. Each item was a memory. The dresses we'd bought together. The limited edition makeup I'd stood in line for. The jewelry I'd saved for months to buy her. Now it all just looked like trash. "You always said I wasn't exciting enough for you, right?" I tossed one last sweater on the pile. "Well, now's your chance to find someone better." "No, you're the best. You've always been the best to me," she cried, shaking her head. "It was me. I was weak. I was so stupid. Liam, please just hit me. Please just hurt me." Looking at her, I felt a sudden, absurd urge to laugh. For 7 years, I had put this woman on a pedestal. She was my everything, and she had thrown my love away like it was nothing. "Stop the act," I said, walking to the front door and pulling it open. "You want my forgiveness? Keep dreaming." She crawled across the floor toward me. Liam, please, just one more chance. Just one. I don't want anything else. I just want you. I took out my phone. Are you sure you wanted to post these photos? She froze. Get out, I said, each word sharp and final. Or I swear, by tomorrow, everyone at the company will know exactly what kind of person you are. She finally got to her feet and slowly started gathering her things. Fine, I'll go. She sobbed, barely able to speak. But Liam, you have to know, I really do love you. Even when I messed up, I never stopped loving you. I laughed, a sound devoid of any warmth. You love me? Is that what you were showing Ethan and Mark? She staggered out the door, then turned back one last time. Liam, when you've cooled down, I'll come back, okay? Slam. The apartment was a wreck. I lit a cigarette and stood by the window, watching the endless stream of headlights on the street below. How many other people in this city were out there tonight, nursing a betrayal just like mine? My phone buzzed. It was from the corporate counsel. Mr. Taylor, the divorce papers are ready. I typed back. Get a litigator on standby. I want to meet with him tomorrow. Putting the phone down, I was surprised by my own clarity. What was there to be sad about? It was over. Now, all that was left was to make them pay. Ethan, Mark, and Chloe, none of them were getting away with this. They were about to find out what happens when you betray me. I pulled up my contacts and found a number I hadn't called in years. Hey, Chris, it's Liam. I need you to do a deep dive on two people for me. Ethan Vance and Mark Peterson. I want everything you can find. It's the middle of the night, man. What's going on? Nothing much, I said with a smile. I just want to treat them to a meal they'll never forget. After hanging up, I went back to my study and opened my laptop. Ethan, you wanted my job so badly? Fine, I'll help you get there. But first, I'm going to show you the price you have to pay. And Mark, you like taking what's mine? Huh? I'll make sure you can never take anything from anyone ever again. As for Chloe, just thinking her name still sent a jolt of pain through my chest. But that pain was quickly turning into something else. Something much colder. I was going to make her regret it. Regret everything. I'd make her watch as every person she thought she could rely on disappeared, one by one. I would make her understand that she hadn't just lost a husband who loved her. She had lost the only future she ever had. My phone buzzed again. A text from Chloe. Liam, can I stay with my mom for a few days? I promise, when you're not so angry, we can talk. I deleted the message without a second thought. Go on, run to mommy. Just wait. You're about to find out what happens when you cross me. I picked up the whiskey bottle and took a long swallow. The burn in my throat was a welcome distraction. It felt like the fire raging inside me. Full of anger, full of hate. But I wouldn't let it cloud my judgment. I had to be calm, methodical, because revenge is a dish best served cold. I would make them taste despair, one slow spoonful at a time. And it all starts tomorrow. The sun wasn't even up, but I was already in my office. On the desk in front of me was a stack of documents, the divorce papers from legal. I hadn't slept, but my mind was sharper than ever. Last night felt like a nightmare, but every single detail was seared into my memory. Ping. A message from Chris. Got what you needed. It's all in a file. I opened the attachment, a slow, predatory smile spreading across my face. Ethan Vance, you've been busy. Barely 6 months as senior VP, and you've already skimmed over $500,000 from company accounts. And you've been quietly buying up company stock, planning a hostile takeover. And Mark Peterson, you're no slouch either. Juggling affairs with 3 married women, promising each of them you'd leave your wife. One of them nearly jumped off a bridge. Perfect. They'd handed me the ammunition themselves. Just then my office door flew open. Chloe rushed in, her eyes swollen and red. She wore no makeup, and her hair was a mess. Liam, she threw herself at me, grabbing my arm. Please don't do this. Don't divorce me. I looked at her, my expression unreadable. Let go. No. She clung to me tighter. I won't let go until you forgive me. Then I guess you'll be holding on for a while. I turned back to my monitor and started working, acting as if she wasn't there. She buried her face in my lap, sobbing. Liam, do you remember our wedding? You promised you would take care of me for the rest of our lives. You said you would never leave me. I kept reading through a financial report, my focus absolute. Hit me, please, just hit me. Scream at me, lock me in a room, anything. Just don't shut me out like this. I finally looked down at her tear-stained face. This face was once my entire world. I would have done anything to see her smile. Now, looking at her just made me sick. Are you done? I pushed the divorce papers toward her. When the performance is over, sign it. No, I won't sign. She snatched the papers and ripped them to shreds. You're not getting rid of me. I chuckled. You think that's the only copy? I opened a drawer and pulled out another set. This one's a spare, and you should read the terms. I'm being generous. $5,000. It's more than you deserve. She choked on a sob. I don't want your money. I just want you. And you think I still want you? I sneered. A woman who fools around with two men in her office? Why would I possibly want that? She fell to her knees. Liam, I know I was wrong. I was so wrong. I'll do anything you want. I swear, anything. I stood up abruptly and pulled her to her feet. Anything? She nodded desperately. Yes, anything. I leaned in close, my lips next to her ear, and whispered, then why don't you just die? She flinched as if I'd struck her, her face turning ashen. What? Is that too much to ask? I let her go. Fine. Then sign the papers. Liam. She stared at me, her eyes wide with disbelief. You've changed. I have, I said, sitting back down. You always said I was too nice, too boring. Well, congratulations. You finally got what you wanted. She shook her head. No, you were perfect. It was me. I'm the one who... Save it. I waved a dismissive hand. It's too late for apologies. Sign the papers and get out of my office. I'm not leaving. She suddenly lunged at me, grabbing my head and kissing me hard on the lips. Liam, feel me. It's still me. It's your Chloe. I shoved her away with such force she stumbled and fell. You disgust me. She landed on the floor, but a strange smile played on her lips. Remember, Liam? The first time we did it in an office, you pushed me away just like that. You said it was too risky, but you couldn't resist then, either. I stood over her, my shadow eclipsing her. Chloe, do you really think you can just turn on the tears and I'll forgive you for everything? She started to get up, ready to throw herself at me again. It's always worked before, hasn't it? All I had to do was act cute, and you'd give me the world. Crack. My hand flew across her face, the sound echoing in the silent office. She staggered back, her hand flying to her cheek, her eyes wide with shock. You hit me? I did, I said coldly. You've been begging me to. So there you go. Tears streamed down her face again. Liam, you really don't love me anymore. Love. I laughed. Do you even deserve to say that word? Suddenly, she screamed. You can't do this to me. We were together for 7 years. 7 years. You promised you would love me forever. I picked up my desk phone and buzzed security. I need someone to remove a trespasser from my office. Liam, she shrieked, clawing at me like a cornered animal. You can't do this. You can't treat me like this. 2 security guards rushed in and grabbed her by the arms, dragging her toward the door. Liam Taylor, she screamed, her voice hysterical. You'll regret this. I swear to God, you will regret this. I leaned back in my chair and lit a cigarette. The only thing I regret, I said to the empty room, is ever meeting you. Finally, silence. I turned to my computer and pulled up the security feeds. Ethan and Mark were already at their desks. Good. I picked up the phone. Send Mr. Vance and Mr. Peterson to my office. Immediately. Less than 5 minutes later, they were standing before me. The bruise on Ethan's face from last night was a dark purple. His face was a thundercloud. Taylor, you wanted to see us. I smiled and gestured to the chairs opposite my desk. Have a seat. They sat down, wary. So, I began leaning back. How do you think I should handle this? Mark immediately dropped to his knees. Mr. Taylor, I'm so sorry. I know I messed up. Please, just let this go. Ethan just snorted. What do you want, Taylor? You gonna fire us? Blackball us from the industry? I shook my head. That's so boring. I slid a file across the desk. Ethan, that's the proof of your embezzlement. Mark, those are recordings of you conning those women. Take a look. Tell me what you think they're worth. The color drained from their faces. You investigated me. Ethan shot to his feet, pointing a finger at my face. Taylor, don't you push this too far. I grabbed his finger and bent it back until it snapped. A sickening crack echoed through the office. Ethan screamed and collapsed. My finger. Too far, I said, standing over him. Was it too far when you were screwing my wife? Mark was shaking uncontrollably. Mr. Taylor, what do you want? I'll do anything, just don't make this public. I returned to my chair. It's simple. First, you both resign, effective immediately. Second, you transfer all of your company stock and options to me. Every last share. And third, I paused, savoring the terror in their eyes. You disappear. If I ever see or hear from either of you again, this all goes online. Ethan gritted his teeth, cradling his broken hand. You're a bastard, Taylor. You think I'll go down alone? I'll take you with me. I laughed. You mean with this? I produced another file. You think I'd give you that chance? These are the complete, audited records for every project I've ever managed. Every dollar is accounted for. The money you stole, you routed it through accounts that trace directly back to you. When this gets out, who do you think the board is going to believe? Ethan's face went white. You planned this. No, I said with a smile. I was just protecting myself. Turns out, it's also the perfect way to get rid of you. I stood and straightened my jacket. Think it over. Let me know your decision. But if you want to play games, I'm more than ready. I walked to the door, then paused. Oh, and don't bother asking Chloe for help. She's got her own problems now. The moment I closed the door, I heard the sound of something heavy crashing against the wall. This was only the beginning. I texted Chris. Is it ready? All set, he replied. Tomorrow's headlines are going to be fun. Vance and Peterson are finished. I smiled. Step 1, complete. The next morning, the internet was on fire. Shock. Senior execs at tech giant busted in embezzlement scheme. Workplace predator. Director lures married women into affairs. Insider trading. Execs secretly acquired stock in takeover plot. Photos of Ethan and Mark were everywhere. The company convened an emergency board meeting and fired them on the spot. I watched from my office window as they were escorted out of the building with their belongings in cardboard boxes. As Ethan passed my door, he shot me a look of pure hatred. I just gave him a little wave. Take care, Ethan. Mark was too ashamed to even look up as he scurried away. And now, Chloe, it's your turn. I pulled up the security footage from that night. The video was crystal clear. I edited out the audio, leaving only the damning visuals. Then I uploaded it to the company-wide Slack channel. The title was simple: a special project between a certain female employee and 2 senior executives. Within 30 minutes, the entire office was buzzing. Oh my God, is that Chloe Davis? So that's how she got the executive assistant job. Disgusting. If I were her husband, I'd kill her. It didn't take long for Chloe to storm into my office. You did this, didn't you? She screamed. Why would you do this to me? I watched her, feeling nothing. You did this to yourself. You. She pointed a trembling finger at me. Do you have any idea what they're saying about me out there? They're calling me a slut, a homewrecker. Isn't that what you are? I asked calmly. Slap. She struck me across the face. I touched my cheek and chuckled. Nice one. I pressed the intercom button. Security, please come remove an employee who just assaulted me. And while you're at it, process her termination papers. You can't fire me, she shrieked. I'll sue you for slander, for defamation. I held up a document. Remember this? Your employment contract. The privacy clause states that all activity recorded on company property is owned by the company. I was just sharing a corporate asset. She collapsed. Why? Why are you doing this to me? Because I knelt down and whispered in her ear, this is just the beginning. I told you I'd make you regret it. Security arrived and hauled her out, still kicking and screaming. Liam Taylor, you'll burn in hell for this. You'll get what's coming to you. I sat back down and called the legal department. I want to file a lawsuit against Ethan Vance and Mark Peterson for sexual harassment in the workplace. After hanging up, I texted Chris again. You ready for phase 2? Ready when you are, he replied. Tomorrow's headlines are already written. I smiled. Step 2 complete. The next day's news was even more explosive. Tech firm scandal deepens. Execs filmed an office threesome. Exclusive video. Married female employees' affairs with superiors exposed. Toxic workplace. How corporate predators get away with it. An edited version of the video went viral. Chloe's face was plastered everywhere. She became the internet's villain of the day. She sent me a text. Liam, why are you trying to destroy me? I'm being harassed online. People follow me on the street, shouting things at me. I deleted it without replying. This wasn't enough. I wanted her to feel true, absolute despair. I opened my laptop and began composing an email. The recipients were a curated list of media contacts and gossip bloggers. Subject: exclusive, more dirt on the tech firm office affair. In the body, I laid out a detailed, fabricated story of how Chloe had systematically seduced both Ethan and Mark to climb the corporate ladder. The most important part was a single line I added at the end, hinting that they weren't her only conquests. Soon, a new wave of stories hit the internet. The rumors flew. She was a professional homewrecker. She had slept with half the executives at the firm. She was a master manipulator who would do anything for a promotion. Chloe completely fell apart. She called me 100 times, sent a flood of texts. Liam, please help me. I can't take this anymore. Why are you doing this? If you hate me this much, why don't you just kill me? I read the messages and smiled. Still not enough. I wanted her to suffer, to wish for death. Just then, Chris called. It's done. Ethan and Mark are finished. One's in custody, the other's on the run. Good work, I said. Are you really going to push her to the edge? Chris asked. She was your wife, man. Ex-wife. I corrected him. The papers are signed. So what's next? I laughed. Just watch. The grand finale is coming. I hung up and opened a drawer in my desk. Inside was a folder of photos. All of them showed Chloe with different men. Of course, they were all fake. My guy was a genius with Photoshop, but they were more than enough to destroy her. She was about to learn the true cost of her betrayal. I was standing in a hospital corridor, staring at the glowing light above the ER door. It was 3 in the morning. Chris's call had jolted me awake. "We have a problem. Chloe tried to kill herself. Slit her wrists." I'd scoffed. "Not my problem." She left a note. "Liam said you drove her to it." I'd paused. "I'm on my way." So here I was, waiting for the doctor. Not out of concern. I just wanted to see the look on her face when she realized even this wouldn't save her. The ER door swung open. A doctor emerged. "The patient is stable, but we'll need to keep her for observation." "Thank you, doctor," I said, my voice calm. I walked into the room. Chloe was lying on the bed, her wrist wrapped in thick bandages. Her face was pale and gaunt. She looked like she'd lost 20 pounds. I shook my head. "Nice performance." Her eyes fluttered open. When she saw me, fresh tears started to fall. "You came." "Had to see the show for myself," I said coldly. "It's not a show." She whispered, her voice weak. "I really don't want to live anymore." "Then feel free to try again." I held up my phone. "But check this out first." On the screen was the latest trending topic. Tech employee in office scandal attempts suicide after public shaming. And below it, exclusive, a deep dive into the mistress's latest cry for attention. She stared at the headlines, her body shaking. "You, how could you?" "I told you," I said, putting my phone away. "I'm going to make you regret it. We're not even close to being done." "What more do you want?" she cried. "I'm already broken. What else can you take from me?" I sat on the edge of her bed. "I want you to feel as broken as I did when you betrayed me." "Then just kill me," she shrieked, grabbing my hand with her good one. "Please, just kill me." I pulled my hand away. "You think death is an escape? Then what do you want me to do?" she sobbed. "I'll apologize. I'll get on my knees. I'll do anything. Just please make it stop." I smiled. "Too late." I stood up to leave. "Wait," she called out. "Did you know? I'm pregnant." I stopped. "Oh, is it Ethan's or Mark's?" "It's yours," she cried. "It's our baby." I turned and walked back to her bed, leaning down to whisper in her ear. "Are you sure you want to go with that lie? Should I show everyone the medical records from your abortion?" Her face went sheet white. "You, how did you know?" "I know everything." I sneered. 3 months ago, you had a secret procedure. That one was Ethan's, wasn't it?" She sagged against the pillows, defeated. "You even found that." "Oh, I found more than that." I pulled out my phone again and showed her a series of photos. Hotel, check-in records, receipts. "You and Ethan started last year, right? And Mark was the new addition to your collection? You're really something." She was trembling uncontrollably. "No, it wasn't like that." "Then how was it?" I tossed the phone onto her lap. "Maybe you should tell your story to the media. I'm sure they'd love to hear it." "Don't," she pleaded, grabbing my arm. "Please, no more stories. I can't take it." I shook her off. "This is just the beginning." I walked to the door and glanced back. "Get some rest. You're going to need it." Outside the hospital, I called Chris. "Is everything ready?" "The photos are prepped," he confirmed. "They'll be ready to go live tomorrow." I smiled. "Good. Wait until she's discharged." I looked at the photos on my phone. The Photoshop work was seamless. They were going to destroy her. A week later, Chloe was released from the hospital. I didn't give her a moment's peace. The photos went live that afternoon. In them, she was seen in intimate poses with a dozen different men. At fancy restaurants, in hotel lobbies, in the back of cars. All fake, of course. But in the court of public opinion, truth doesn't matter. The internet exploded. This woman is pure trash. So there were way more than two. She's a corporate black widow. Within a day, Chloe was socially dead. She sent me one last text. "Liam, those photos are fake. Why are you doing this to me?" I replied, "You say they're fake? Maybe we should release the video from that night to compare." She never replied again, but I knew she was broken. Sure enough, the next day, I got word that her parents had come to the city to take her home. Giving up so soon? I shook my head and dialed a number. "Do you have the address for her parents' place?" "Got it," Chris said. "You're really not letting up, are you?" "Of course not," I said with a cold smile. "We're just getting to the climax." I had the photos printed out and sent someone to plaster them all over the community bulletin boards in her parents' quiet suburban neighborhood. For the final touch, I had a bouquet of black roses delivered to their front door with a card that read, "To the best lover a man could ask for." The effect was immediate. The gossip spread through the small town like wildfire. Chloe's parents, a teacher and a librarian, were ostracized. They were forced to move. That's what finally made Chloe snap. She drove back to the city and stood outside my office building, screaming like a madwoman. "Liam Taylor, get down here, you coward. You're a monster. Why are you doing this to me?" Security dragged her away as she continued to shriek. "You'll get what you deserve. You'll rot in hell for this." I watched it all from my office window. A small, humorless smile touched my lips. You thought this was all a game, didn't you? Well, now you know the pain. Now you know regret. It's too late. Late that night, I was in my study, staring at my laptop screen. The news ticker was a symphony of destruction. Ethan Vance had been beaten so badly in prison he had a permanent limp. Mark Peterson, who had fled the country, had been apprehended by local authorities and was being extradited. I took a slow sip of whiskey. Everything was going according to plan. Ethan was broken. Mark was on his way to a federal prison. Chloe was a social pariah, and her family was ruined because of her. My revenge was almost complete, but it wasn't enough. I didn't just want them to lose everything. I wanted them to live with the agony forever. Suddenly, my doorbell rang. I opened to find Chloe standing there. She was skeletal, her eyes sunk deep into their sockets, her hair a tangled mess. "You have some nerve showing up here," I said. She kept her head down. "I came to ask you for one last thing." "What?" "Leave my parents alone." She dropped to her knees. "They've done nothing wrong. Please, just leave them out of this." I crouched down to her level. "And why would I do that? Please." She grabbed the cuff of my pants. "I'll do anything you want, whatever you ask. Just spare them." I kicked her hand away. "Get out. I know I was wrong." She crawled back, clinging to my leg. "I know what I did. If you want my life, you can have it. Just spare them." I dragged her out to the balcony. "You want to die? Fine. Jump." She trembled, her eyes wide with fear. You're serious?" "Of course." I pointed to the street 48 floors below. "You jump, and I leave your parents alone." A strange, broken smile crossed her face. "Okay, I'll jump. But Liam Taylor, you remember this. I will haunt you for the rest of your life." She moved toward the railing. Just as she was about to climb over, I grabbed her and yanked her back. "You think I'd let you die that easily?" She fought against me. "Let me go. You told me to die." I dragged her back inside. "Death? That's too easy for you. I want you to live with this. Do you understand?" She went limp, staring at me with empty eyes. "Liam, you've become a demon." "I have," I smiled. "And I have you to thank for it." She slid down the wall, tears finally falling. "I regret it so much. If I could go back, I would never have betrayed you." "It's too late," I said. "You will never understand how much I loved you, and you will never understand how much I hate you now." She suddenly lunged and threw her arms around me. "Give me another chance. Please. I know I was wrong. We can start over." I pushed her away. "You're not worthy." "I am," she said frantically. "I'll spend the rest of my life making it up to you. Please, just forgive me." Looking at her desperate, crazed face, I almost found it funny. I had once loved this woman more than life itself. Now, I just wanted to see her suffer. "Go," I said, pointing to the door. Before I changed my mind, she slowly got to her feet and walked to the door. Just before she left, she turned back. I did love you. I always loved you, even when I was betraying you." I scoffed. "Your love is cheap." She shook her head. "No, I was just greedy. I thought I could have more, and I forgot what was most precious." She turned and walked out. I closed the door, leaned against it, and lit a cigarette. That woman still acting right to the very end. Too bad for her. I pulled out my phone and sent one final text. "Tomorrow. Release everything." It was time to end this.